In the shadowy depths of Middle-earth, two forces of darkness conspired to reshape the fate of the world. Morgoth, the first Dark Lord, sought dominion over all, while Ungoliant, a creature of insatiable hunger, craved the very light of creation. But what happens when darkness turns against itself? Before we continue further, if you could take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel, it would mean the world and help us share more tales of Arda. Now, let's return to the story. Chapter 1: The Shadow of the North. Long before the world knew sorrow, before trees bore fruit or stars had faded, there was Melkor, mightiest of the Ainur, first in power, yet last in grace. He had once stood radiant among his brethren, crowned in flame and purpose. But his heart had turned inward, seeking dominion rather than harmony. The music of the Ainur had sung of creation, yet Melkor sought to rewrite it in his own discordant key. And thus was born the first shadow, not of absence, but of will. He wandered the void, hungering for flame unkindled. He looked upon the works of Iluvatar with envy, whispering to the emptiness, "All things that are, I will remake in my image, for even the light shall bow before me." And so it was that when the Valar descended to shape the world, Melkor followed, unseen, like a storm brooding behind the dawn. Mountains he raised and broke again, seas he filled, then boiled in wrath. Yet the others endured, for the vision of Iluvatar was stronger than his spite. In time he took form, dark, majestic, terrible to behold. The first Dark Lord, Morgoth, the black foe of the world. But even in his greatness, he felt it, the emptiness of power unshared. For every tyrant must have a witness, and every darkness seeks its mirror. It was in the forgotten wastes beyond the mountains of Aman that he found her. Chapter 2: The Weaving of Hunger. Ungoliant. None knew her beginning. Some said she had come from before the music, a shadow spawned from the unlit places between the notes of creation. Others whispered she had once served Varda, the star-kindler, tending the wells of light, until she tasted their radiance and found herself devoured by longing. Now she dwelled in Avathar, the southmost darkness of the world, weaving unlight into webs that no flame could pierce. Her form was vast and shifting, part spider, part void, a hunger given shape. From her body dripped the blackness that swallowed even memory. When Morgoth came to her, his iron crown dimmed beneath her gaze. "Who comes into my webs?" hissed the voice that was both whisper and storm. "Who dares bring flame to my shadows?" "I am he whom the world once named Melkor," said the Dark Lord, his voice deep as the roots of Arda. "The giver of discord, the master of doom." She laughed, a sound like dry leaves crushed in winter. "Master, all who come here are servants to hunger." Morgoth's eyes glimmered red beneath his helm. "Then serve with me, for I shall give thee what all hungers crave, light and vengeance." Ungoliant stirred, her limbs stretching through leagues of black silk. "Vengeance," she breathed. "Whose light shall we consume?" And Morgoth's reply was soft, yet it shook the night. "The two trees." Chapter 3: The Journey into Doom. Together they crept north, cloaked in shadow thicker than thought. Ungoliant spun her webs to veil them from the eyes of the Valar, layers upon layers of unlight that swallowed every gleam of the world. Beneath her shroud, even the stars themselves faltered. They crossed the mountains of Aman like ghosts, the peaks groaning under their passage. And where Ungoliant passed, the stone blackened and flowers turned to ash. At last they came upon the summit above Valinor, looking down upon the radiant plain where Telperion and Laurelin stood, the two trees of the Valar, fountains of silver and gold. Their mingled light washed across the land like dawn and dusk joined in eternal embrace. Ungoliant trembled at the sight. "It burns," she whispered. "The light burns me." Morgoth smiled. "Then drink and be satisfied." And as the festival of the Valar reached its height in Valmar, and laughter echoed through the halls of the Powers, Morgoth descended like a shadow of ruin. With spear and malice he struck the trees at their roots, driving his black blade deep into their hearts. Their light shuddered and dimmed, spilling golden sap like tears. And Ungoliant leapt upon them, her jaws drinking the radiance of life itself. She swelled, vast and terrible, her darkness spreading across the land until even the stars fled her presence. When at last she withdrew, the trees lay dead. The world was dark. Chapter 4: The Flight of Morgoth. From the ruin they fled, bearing the Silmarils, jewels of light untainted, stolen from the crown of Feanor's house. Morgoth clutched them to his chest as a miser holds his breath. But even in triumph, the seed of doom grew. Ungoliant followed, her hunger unending. She had drunk the light of the trees, yet it was not enough. Her body, swollen with stolen brilliance, ached for more. "Give me the jewels," she demanded as they crossed the Helcaraxes' icy wastes. "They are mine by right of the deed." "They are mine by right of power," Morgoth answered, his voice cold as iron. "Thou art but my servant." Her voice rose like a tide. "Servant? Without me thou wouldst have crawled blind in the dust of Aman. Give them, or I shall consume thee also." The Dark Lord's hand fell upon his crown. The Silmarils burned his flesh, yet he would not yield. "Thou hast had thy reward, spawn of shadow." Then Ungoliant came upon him. Her webs fell thick and black around the mountains, binding him fast. Her fangs sought his throat, her hunger roaring like the sea. Darkness warred with darkness. The world trembled beneath their struggle. Morgoth's cries rang across the empty plain, the first sound of fear ever heard from his lips. And, for a moment, it seemed she would devour even him. But from the north came the thunder of wings and the roar of flame. The Balrogs, his ancient servants, demons of fire and shadow, heard his wailing and came swift from Angband. They smote Ungoliant with their whips of flame, and she fled shrieking into the south, leaving behind a trail of poisoned night. So ended the Pact of Darkness, betrayed and broken. Chapter 5: The Devourer's Legacy. Ungoliant vanished into the forgotten valleys of the world, birthing spawn of her own shadow, creatures that would one day crawl through the dark of Mirkwood and beyond. Yet none matched her hunger. It was said she consumed herself at last, devoured by the void she had woven. Morgoth returned to Angband, his crown bound with the Silmarils that burned his flesh but exalted his pride. He had slain the light, yet found no peace in darkness. The world, meanwhile, trembled towards its doom, for the murder of the trees was not the end, but the beginning, the spark that would ignite the first war of jewels and drive elves and men into sorrow untold. Chapter 6: The Echo of Betrayal. Sometimes in the farthest deserts of Arda, the wind still carries their voices, a whisper of flame and hunger locked in eternal struggle. Thou shalt not take what is mine. All light is mine, till I am filled. Darkness betrayed darkness, and from that betrayal the world was forever changed. For even evil, when turned upon itself, gives birth to ruin greater than light could ever destroy. And so ends the tale of Morgoth and Ungoliant, the doom of the trees and the first great sundering of light. If you have walked this far into shadow, traveler, then perhaps you would seek the light again, in other tales of Middle-earth.